Good morning. Shoot, it's technically noon in Mountain Time, but anyway, good morning, afternoon, from all of us at the Sports Brief Podcast. Welcome back to our latest edition of Raiders Latest News, where we bring you the Raiders Latest News, Silly Songs with Larry. Now, there's a lot. I gotta hide my double chin a little bit. There's a lot of things going on right now since it's kind of the off season, but there's also a lot of things going on, if that makes sense. We're in that lull period between the Super Bowl and the Senior Bowl where there's nothing really going on. So we got a week before we see if the Chiefs three-peat or if the Eagles stop them in the tracks. Nobody's excited for this Super Bowl, let's be honest. But overall, the Raiders are assembling their coaching staff, which was apparent by their hiring of Matt Capurro yesterday, who is going to be the president of coaching operations or vice president of coaching operations or whatever it is. So basically, he's going to decide schedules. Seems like something you and I could do. Totally kidding. But, Capurro spent some time with Pete Carroll in Seattle and USC. So there's the familiarity there, the ability to put together a solid schedule and a solid understanding of what makes things the most efficient. And so I think that is solid for a solid hire for the Raiders. And I think that it's going to help them really streamline this process of, I don't want to say recreating what Carroll built with the Seahawks, but I think it's going to really help with making this culture, making this schedule, making this this building and this franchise feel like the Seahawks, where they could draft anybody that could fill holes and they could find some superstars late in those rounds. And so I think that it's going to be a really good fit with the Raiders here. Capurro will be, excuse me. Speaking of late round superstars, so Jaxson Dart. We actually pounded on the table for Jaxson Dart from the very beginning, but the thing about Jaxson Dart is this. He had a tremendous Senior Bowl, so I had to watch some of his tape. Athletically speaking, there is nothing holding back this kid. I think he can make all the throws. I think that he has confidence to play with anybody, and I think he has the ability to play with anybody. The problem is, in the Ole Miss offense, a lot of it was see it, throw it, and no anticipation whatsoever. That'll lead to sacks, and that'll lead to interceptions in the NFL. So he's got some work to do. And I don't think that if the Raiders started him, he would be a day one starter. But the talent is there to be a solid starting quarterback in the NFL. Maybe even an all-star, maybe. And the confidence and the swagger is what you really want to build your team around. You want a quarterback that's confident, that goes into there and has that mantra, right? I mean, I believe I could argue that the Raiders won, 3 Super Bowls off of that. So Jaxson Dart is the real deal. And I think that the nice thing about it is I don't know, there's speculation that he could go in the first round, but I don't know. I don't truthfully know if he's actually going to go in the first round. I think there's a possibility, especially for how, we'll say, slim this quarterback class is in 2025. But I do think that the Raiders could find themselves in a spot where could they get the BPA at 6 and then maybe potentially trade up back into the first round at the end of it and get their guy. It's definitely a possibility. And Jaxson Dart, like we said, has had himself a really good career at Ole Miss, led the entire college football world, or let's just say that, in passing yards last year, and it was just fantastic. Like we said, it really is that scheme, and I do think that a lot of it plays into how he was handled and how things were built around him. But the last time I checked, that's not a bad thing. Like the fact if you can create something where you have guys that have things around them, a running game, some wide receivers, good offensive line protection, like that's not a bad thing. And the one thing I really liked about Jaxson Dart is obviously his playmaking ability. He's got very underrated athleticism, but also his ability to stand in the pocket, be calm, and just carve it up. Over 10 yards an attempt last year for Ole Miss. That shows me that he's willing to take shots. He's willing to throw it into tight windows. He's willing to give his receivers a chance, which I think could be a really good fit with the Raiders. Because you're going to tell me that Jaxson Dart, one of the best middle-of-the-field throwers, throwing to Brock Bowers is not going to do something? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think this could be a really good fit with the Raiders. I think it's going to be something where he's going to take good care of the football. He's going to make smart decisions. And, are there some things to work on? Absolutely. But the talent's there. And if you want to go after a guy like Jaxson Dart, I fully support it. So he's been somebody that's getting a lot of attention lately. Also, Dylan Gabriel was a big-time winner over this last week and everything. And he just looks like the real deal, too. Also, Jalen Milroe is a loser. It's kind of rough. Maybe you could also get Jalen Milroe in the later third or fourth rounds. Maybe he'll take a little bit of a tumble, but it's what it is there. Mike Green looked really, really good for the Senior Bowl Had 17 sacks last year with an FBS school in Marshall, but this dude is nasty. This dude is absolutely nasty. But the rest of it, like I said, I think that there is a lot of things going in this Senior Bowl class, and so I think there's a lot of guys that did themselves a lot of favors, including Jaxson Dart. So overall, let us know what you guys think. Should they draft Jaxson Dart? I really don't know, but that's really it as far as the Raiders' latest news. Obviously, talking about them with the latest coaching hires and the Senior Bowl. That's kind of it for now. I think that Matt Capurro is going to be a big time addition to this team, and we're going to really see what Pete Carroll and company do with this franchise. But overall, let us know what you guys think. Was there any news that we missed? Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and we'll see you in the next video.